Uh, yeah. You didn't see that happening. Yeah, that's the problem, I guess, when you're still not used to your new keyboard shortcuts. But let's just disregard that right now, and I want to say hello, humans. Good to see you all. Welcome to the stream. It is your favorite color surfing DJ, broadcasting live from the Color Surfer station in the fair Isle of Serjay, DJ Serjay Svek. How is everybody doing today? Welcome. How are you? And I'm glad to have you here, and I hope that you had a great day so far. And for those of you who are waking up, because it is actually just 6:11 a.m. on a Friday morning, February 24, 2023, I hope that you had a good rest and you'll have an awesome holiday today, because it was just declared last night, I saw the news, that today was declared a holiday instead of the usual holiday that we have on February 25, which is a Saturday. So for those of you who are going to be, who are impacted by this holiday, I hope that you do have a great day, that you'll be able to enjoy whatever you want to do. Whether it's, going out with friends, just chilling at home, whatever, what have you. And I hope that you have a great day, and if you choose to watch over me, if you choose to watch me, then thank you very much for making me a part of your day. And I would like to welcome Sab as well, and as always, I thank you very much for always being there, one of the very first people that will always appear whenever we go on stream. So thank you for that, and Sab as well. Thank you very much for dropping by. Good to have you here. Okay, so for those of you who might not be familiar, who might be watching the VOD or be a little bit later on in the stream, this is the usual DJ Serjay segment that we have every Friday morning, beginning at 6 a.m. plus 8 GMT/UTC. And we're going to be talking about a bunch of whatever interests me. And we do have a topic planned, but depending on whatever chat might mention or whatever floats my boat, we'll see how the conversation goes today. And I think that's part of the fun of doing these just chatting streams, because, well, you never know where you're going to end up. And it's going to be very difficult for me to stay on topic. And I find that actually part of the fun, because, you never know what you're going to expect whenever you plan out these episodes. So grab your breakfast, grab your coffee, grab your snacks, and go ahead and have a good seat, and hope you will enjoy. So if you guys have actually seen the title of today's episode, we are talking about failure. And the reason why I wanted to talk about failure is because of a tweet that has been going around since earlier this week. And that was about, what was your lowest grade in school? And that actually got a ton of traction, I must say. So many people were there sharing their lowest grades, all of their failures in school, all of the different struggles and trials that they have undergone in their lives, and they were able to succeed despite all of that. And that sort of resonated with me, especially since, it's definitely not to the same degree, but I also had my own share of struggles in school. And I wanted to go ahead and share my story along with you all, because I think what really made that tweet very interesting for me is that it really just shows that a lot of people go through a lot of their own struggles, We have our own situations, our own reasons why we do things. But the fact of the matter is that we were able to persevere. You were able to get a lot stronger because of that. And here we are. And it might sound a bit cheesy to say, but, you know, I do believe in that saying that, you know, that you have survived 100% of all of your bad days if you're here now. And we are a lot stronger than what we think we are, you know? So, if nothing else, I just want to start off your day, especially if you have just woken up. I just want to start off your day by saying, good job. Right? You are doing a very good job. And no matter how bad things may get, things are only going to get tougher, but so will you. That's just the reality of it. You know, I remember, before we continue, I just want to welcome If You Dare Vlog. Thank you very much for dropping by. Glad to have you here. Welcome, welcome. And yes, if you dare indeed. And so long as you keep going forward, as long as you keep daring, you will succeed. Eventually. Good to have you here. Welcome, welcome. It's been a while. And thank you very much for dropping by. So, yeah, it's been a while, especially since, you know, we've had our share of struggles. And even just these past couple of weeks have been pretty bad for me. And I want to go ahead and take the time to discuss this with a lot of you. And also a bit of my history, just so we could try to find something that maybe we have in common. And maybe we could also discuss it as well. And let me just, I should have done this earlier, but how did you overcome it? All right. Let me go ahead and pin this message for you. So we do have a question of the day. So we'll just go ahead and put that there. Okay, sorry about that. Just had a message. And Dare says, hugs, Serjay. Ah, thank you very much. Hugs for everybody. I should have put up, maybe one of these days, I'll go ahead and put like a hug command or a head pat command. You know, that'll be nice. So, yeah, things have been actually a bit difficult these past couple of weeks because one, I'm sick again. I became sick, you know, a couple of weeks ago, and you know, it's already February, so it's still a bit chilly sometimes. But actually, I don't know about you, but these days, especially in the evenings, because I work night shift, it's beginning to get a lot hotter, you know? It's beginning to get a lot hotter now. So I think we're going to be entering the days when we're all going to have to worry about the heat coming in. And oh, holy cow, that's going to be a lot. It's going to be a lot more difficult to deal with. I don't have to deal with getting colds anymore. I'll now have to deal with, you know, possible heat exhaustion. Oh my goodness. There's always something, you know, that's trying to make me sick. But I don't know. My body's like just like this, I guess. But yeah, I was sick like a couple of weeks ago, and because of like my changes in schedule, I had to miss a couple of events. So that does make me a bit sad, especially with my coach, because, you know, whenever I get sick, that means I can't go to the gym and I can't have lessons with him. And it does feel kind of bad because, you know, he doesn't have a commission. He makes it clear that if I don't join, he doesn't get a commission. And that's fine. that he's kind of honest about that, because I also want to help him out as well. And a little, you scratch my back, I scratch yours. You give me a lesson, you get paid extra. So if ever you go to the gym and you find some of the trainers might be a bit too pushy about trying to get you to get a personal trainer, it's probably because they want a commission. They get a commission if they have you as a trainee, which is understandable. I see where they're coming from. Anyway, and last night, I wasn't able to I didn't really feel well either, so I couldn't really do work. So these past couple of weeks have been pretty bad. And not to mention, there have been a lot of struggles lately when it came to work and my personal life that I haven't felt this in a long time, but it's kind of like the feeling where it's like you're giving yourself a headache from all of the stress. And holy cow, that feels different. But I'm better now. And the truth of the matter is, I thought I didn't want to... How do I phrase this? I guess a major part of the headaches that I've been going through, literally and figuratively, is because, I didn't want to... I thought I made some mistakes. in my work, in my personal life, and if you are not that familiar with me, I do have a tendency to catastrophize. And that's a term that I actually used when I went through therapy a couple of years ago. And what that basically means is that in an equivalent idiomatic expression in English is making a mountain out of a molehill. So even if the problem is very, very small, I have a tendency to think that it is the end of the world. So, sort of like, I don't know if you all have this sort of thing, but it's like, oh, if they don't message me back because I tell a joke via our group chat, if I tell a joke and they don't respond, I'm like, oh my god. Did I say something offensive? Was that a bad thing that I said? I don't know. But that's my kind of thought process, I don't like it, but that's usually my first line of thinking, And I recognize that. It's a very, very hard habit to break. I'm very thankful, though, that I do recognize it, although, sometimes it can be a bit difficult to catch. And it is, because, when you're caught in all of that stress, in those moments, sometimes you just can't help but be caught up in your thoughts. And it's going to happen throughout your life that there are just some things that you can't control. And for some of us, like me, we can't help our minds but race. But the best thing that we can do is, try to find a way, trying to find someone to support us. Whether it's your friends, your coworkers, or, just some people that you trust. They can really help when it comes to failure or feelings of failure. Dare says, good to know that you're feeling better now, and the cry emoji. Yeah, thank you for that. So yeah, it wasn't easy trying to survive these past couple of weeks, but having a friend around, really, really helped. And although I do admit that you also, just because you have like a friend that you trust, just a reminder to myself, I have to make sure that I don't always rely on them whenever I have a problem, because, you know, she's not my psychiatrist. She's not my therapist. You know, sometimes it's kind of hard when you are seen, as the friend that is like trusted with secrets or problems, you know. It's very exhausting, you know. I had a friend of mine, and before, she tended to talk about, you know, her struggles a lot. Things with the family, like how her family was going through issues when it came to their relationships, financial issues, stuff like that. And that tended to happen a lot, you know. Whenever we would have lunch at work, that's pretty much all that we would talk about, you know. All of the different problems that she had, all of the different struggles that she had to undergo, and I was there, just listening. Pretty much listening to everything. And I was just like saying, yes, go on, like that. I do hope she's doing better now, because, you know, it was very difficult. Let me rephrase that. She had quite a bit of difficulty going through things, but I hope that the situation has improved since the last time we talked. It is very difficult, you know, when you are that type of friend, you know, that people trust with their feelings, with their struggles all the time. It's an honor in a way, because it goes to show that people do trust you, and, you know, but it also, for me, it makes me feel like, I don't know, am I actually doing enough? But I guess there's not much I could do at that time, you know. All I could do is just like be an open ear and listen. And probably not give advice. It was a very difficult lesson for me because, you know, growing up, I was always told, you know, I have to be the person that helps. If someone is in trouble, I have to step in and help. It took a very long time for me to understand that, you know, just because a person has problems, just because a person needs, just because a person is struggling, doesn't necessarily mean that they need your help. Sometimes, all they just want is an open ear to listen to. And that was a very hard struggle to learn, because whenever I see a friend of mine in trouble, my first impulse before was always to figure out, what can I do? You know, how can I fix this? But I don't know how to fix a broken relationship. I don't know how to fix your financial problems. Because even if you tell me all the details, I have my limits too. And I can't just wave my hand and then give like a magic wish to solve your problems. As much as I wish I could. But I guess after a while, I have to admit that despite my quote-unquote powerlessness, sometimes it's good just to be an open and willing ear. And that's pretty much what people need sometimes, you know? Just someone to listen to them. And in situations like what happened with me for the past couple of weeks. It was really good that I did have a friend that was willing to listen to me. And no judgment, no advice given if I didn't ask. Just be an open and non-judgmental ear. You know? And if you have friends like those, whether they're your coworkers, your partner, your spouse, or whatever, yeah, you should appreciate them. Appreciate them for that. Dare says, it's a human tendency to try to help or suggest solutions, but yes, listening is a great help too. Yeah, it's something that I learned a little bit later in my life, but yeah, listening does help. Actively listening, of course. There is a difference between actively listening to what someone is saying versus going in one ear, out the other. You know, there's a huge difference. So if someone is pouring out their feelings for you, their feelings to you, English. Thought I'm good in English, but apparently when I stream, my English goes to 0. If someone is pouring out their feelings to you, it would do everybody some good if you listen carefully as well. And I wish I did have someone like that growing up, you know, a very willing ear to listen to. But you know, there is this ancient Chinese proverb that I learned back in the day, and I think it's a very beautiful thing. And it basically goes, the best time to plant a tree is 20 years ago. The second best time is now. So, once again, the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. And the second best time is today. So, what that basically means is that, you know, sometimes the lessons and understanding come late. I don't think we can ever say it's really truly too late until you die. So the understanding came a bit late for me, but it came. It arrived. And yes, I wish I learned these things a longer time ago, but hey, you know, we learn at different rates. We go through different struggles in our points in our lives. So, and we can't really try to compare what we go through compared to other people. So, if you finally learn that lesson in your life, whatever that is, then I think the best thing that we could do is just be happy and be grateful that we'd have finally learned it. And yeah, try not to compare. Try not to compare. That's a lesson that I still struggle with. Let me tell you. And boy, oh boy, that was also part of the failure that I wanted to share about, because that we are going back to the beginning topic of our episode for today. And so we were talking about what was one of your biggest struggles in life, and how did you overcome it. And it was inspired by that tweet where we were talking about like your lowest grade in school. And well, I'm not going to share my biggest struggle as of yet, but I can. If you didn't see my response to that tweet, I'm gonna share what I did in college. Because in college, I had my lowest grade ever, and that was in political science. Final semester, senior year. So last semester, last year of college, in school, ever. And I got a barely passing grade, D. We had letter grades, so D. And that was the very first one that I ever got. And that was the funny part, because apparently my friend who recommended that professor to me said that it would be an easy A. And I took it thinking that it would be an easy A, but no, it was not. In hindsight, I guess it's because I didn't really think or do enough in that class, and I guess it's understandable. But also because the professor was kind of not interesting. Maybe I'm just projecting, but by that time in my last year of college, I just wanted college to end, you know? I was tired of college. I just wanted to leave school. I was done with everything. Show of hands in the chat. I don't know if I know a lot of the VTuber community in the Philippines are actually still in school, mostly college age. But like, it was really, really difficult. But you know. But just let me know if you also underwent that when you were in school. It's like, oh gosh, I just want it to end. I don't want to go to school anymore. Hello, Mojil. Thank you very much for dropping by. Glad to have you here. Welcome to the stream. How are you? Okay, and yeah, that's pretty much what I went through, because in the last year of college, it was just, I just wanted it to end. You know, after a while, I was just tired of school, tired of college, just, gosh. But it became over. It was over eventually. Module says, I'm also streaming. Oh, what are you streaming? Interesting. And you're also still in college. So you could probably share some of your experiences as well. Dare says, yup, me too. Oh, when did you experience that? Was that also in college or in high school or in elementary? Oh my. I had moments like that in elementary too, you know. They always seem to happen at the last year whenever I'm in school. So in grade 6 of elementary, in my 4th year of high school, and in my 4th year of college. I think especially, you know, when you have to write your thesis and your papers and everything, it just began to pile up, you know? And at that point in my life, I didn't care anymore. And I feel bad for my parents, you know? They worked very hard to put me into a good school, but, you know, at some point in my life, I just, you know, thought I didn't care anymore. It's like, you don't really bother thinking about, you know, who put you there, what you've gone through. Sometimes you just wanted it to be over, so maybe I could go to work or whatever. And the funny thing is that a number of my other classmates, they wanted to stay in school because after we graduated, they underwent master's degrees. I'm not sure if some of my friends already have like PhDs, but a number of my friends already do have master's degrees. At some point in my life, I was thinking of getting a master's degree, but you know, a little later on, I was like, okay, I can't afford this anymore. This is just way too much. I can't. If I'm already struggling like this to get a diploma, what more if I'm in masters? Gosh, have to publish another thesis. My goodness. I guess, and that was the funniest. In hindsight, it was the funniest part because back in college, I studied literature. And, and the reason why I wanted to take that was because I loved reading back in the day. But as the years went by when I was in college, I was like, oh God, I hate reading. I became tired of reading anything. But, after I started working, when I no longer had to write papers, when I no longer had to read 3 novels in a single week, reading became fun again. Thank God. Oh my goodness. I can already remember what my mother looked like when I was applying for college. We were trying, we were going through like a couple of universities, and when I said I want to study literature, my mom just looked at me as though she was looking at an idiot. She looked dumbfounded. And then, now that I'm older, I can understand where she's coming from. Because for a number of my friends, their career paths took them to teaching, the academia. But I found that I'm not a very good teacher. I'm not very good when it comes to handling kids. So, I just, in hindsight, probably literature was not the best major to choose. Apparently, course is a Filipino English term. The proper quote-unquote word for that is your major. There's a reason why it's called major and minor. I don't even know if I could have handled a minor in college, whatever that would have been. Goodness gracious. And I had friends who actually had double majors. My gosh. Wow. If anybody is willing to share, what are you studying in college? Or what did you major in college? Dare says, during middle school, everyone is a grade school honor student. Since it's a science school, they were very competitive. It was tiring. Ah, yes. I was one of those kids. No, I didn't get a double major. Just to clarify there, I didn't get a double major, but some of my friends did. And holy cow, those people are built different. I already thought that it was super difficult to handle just a major. And then some of my friends were there getting a major and a minor, and then a double major. My gosh. All of the requirements of 2 different majors in one. Well, more power to them. That's why they're built different, apparently. But yeah, I was one of those kids, relating to Dare's story, that, growing up, I had very good grades in elementary school. I always got like perfect grades in everything for the 6 years I was in school, in elementary. The only time I did not get perfect grades was for Filipino class. and civics class. Civics, or as we would call it, Civica at Cultura. So civics and culture and history. Because both of those subjects were conducted in Filipino. And I was bad in Filipino. As you can tell, I'm awful when it comes to speaking Tagalog. So I was one of those kids that always got like perfect scores, perfect grades, aside from those two subjects. But when I went to high school, which was a science school as well there, oh my god. My grades plummeted. My goodness. I remember in my first year of high school, I don't know, Dare, if it's the same with you, but I went to a public science high school. And what that means is that if you were part of the top 10 students, or the top batch of students, you would be put in a special class, and then you would be the ones receiving notebooks or books paid by the government, and then every month you would receive like 100 pesos or 1,000 pesos. And I was like that in my first year because I had excellent grades going into high school. But after the first report card day in my new high school, I was the bottom 3. I was the bottom 3 of my grade. My goodness. When my mom saw my report card, I saw that look in her eyes that if only it was not illegal, she would have probably strangled me right there and then. And at that point in my life, I probably would have let her. But yes, it's legal. Don't do that, please. Okay? And it really took a toll on me, growing up, because I thought, oh my gosh, I'm a failure. Oh, I thought this is so bad. It's the end. This is the end. But no, it wasn't. I survived. I woke up the next day alive, although feeling terrible. And I only managed to survive high school, my science high school, with the help of some tutors, because I availed of some tutors that were really, really wonderful and helped me outside of class. And to this day, my siblings still cannot help but tease me because I was the only one in the family that actually had tutors in the family. Well, thanks a lot, guys. Thanks a lot for not supporting my self-esteem, my fragile self-esteem growing up. Okay. But I survived. Somehow. And because of the super awful difficulty of science high school, that's the time I decided, you know what? I don't want to study science anymore. Let's study literature in college. That was a bad idea. People weren't looking for my kind of job, my degree, when I finally started working. Oh my goodness. It could have been worse. I could have taken creative writing back in college. I don't know. If going through literature for my major back in the day caused me to stop reading for a while, if I took creative writing, I probably would have stopped writing for a while as well. But dang, those people in creative writing having to write like a novel, I think that was their thesis. It's either they had to write a novel or they had to write like a bunch of short stories. Something like that for their thesis. And then my friends in theater, they had to like produce their own play, something like that. Or script, at least. Goodness gracious. Man, the things they make you do. I don't know. But yeah, if you feel like sharing it, let me know what is the major that you are currently undergoing, or what you went through in college. You know, if I had to do it all over again, I probably would have gone through like psychology or something. I don't know. I guess I say that because that's like one of the things that I am interested in, psychology. You know, how the mind works, how it processes these things. You know, how it makes people react to situations in a certain way. Why I, for example, would react in an extreme manner compared to my friends who would be a lot more calm when it comes to certain things, you know? Excuse me. So, yeah, it was, I don't know. Psychology has been very interesting for me. The only thing that it's just that teachers were not that interesting when we had to undergo psychology class. Excuse me. There says, everyone was a top student, and freshmen were just divided into classes randomly. Some schools had normal and science sections, like a hybrid section. It's a hybrid high school. That's mine. That was my high school. My high school had a science division, and then we had the regular school, and then we also had a sports school where all the people who were good at sports were, and then there was an art school, and then there was also a school of the future. So school that was focused on computers and technology. And it wasn't I don't think it was a good idea that a lot of our teachers back in the day kept saying, "Oh, you know what? If you fail your subjects in the science division, they're gonna make you graduate in the regular division." And they made it sound like, you know, they were the boogeymen, you know? It was like a terrible, terrible thing, you know, to graduate, to flunk the science program and then graduate out of the regular program. I'm like, oh, wow. Why? In hindsight, the teachers could have probably, you know, worded that a lot better, you know? Because they made it think as though they made us think that, you know, them being not in the science division was like a bad thing, you know? Like, you know, just being a quote-unquote normal graduate was a bad thing. They could have done a lot better in rephrasing that in hindsight. Because, you know, we were all just kids, you know, trying to learn. And I don't think those kids in the regular division deserved to be insulted like that directly. Now that I'm older and I had time to think about it, that was a very bad call on their part. But anyway, yeah. Dare says, I like psychology too, but I like computers more. Fair enough. Fair enough. Computers are good, yes. Especially, you know, with the technology that we have now compared to what we went through back in the 90s and the 2000s. There's a whole new world available for technology, and it's only going to be a lot more exciting from this point forward, you know? Dare says, I see. Wow, science, art, and sports focus programs. Yes, that's true. The only reason why I was also put in the science program was because my brother was there as well. And, it's like there's a history there, so it would have been easier for me to... I would have been because at least the teachers would know who I was, and they'll be, they're gonna be like, oh, your brother Svek's brother. I see. Okay, so in the end, I think that also was a bit of too much pressure on me, because I know my brother was way too good at studying, even though he did not look like he was studying. He was the more balanced type in the family. What I mean by that is that even though he did not seem to be studying, even though he was just like playing video games or going out or getting dates, he still managed to do pretty well in school. Although the stories apparently of how he used to act back in high school were the things of legend, apparently. So much so that even when I visited high school, old high school, many years after I graduated, the teachers who still remember me still ask about my bro. Because they know they will never forget his shenanigans from back in the day. And, apparently, when I graduated too, and when I visited a number of years later, they did not forget my shenanigans too. I was a bad kid in my own way. Trust me. I wish I could say I had a squeaky clean record, but I also had my fair share of weird stuff that I caused. But, are you really living as a teen if you did not cause any mayhem back in the day to some degree? Dare says, if we don't meet the grade requirements, we have to transfer to a regular school. That's too much pressure. Yeah. I mean, I guess I could see where the teachers and my parents were coming from, because it is a point of pride to be able to graduate from the science division, for example. But the truth of the matter is that it would also be good if we didn't have to make the regular division into bad people, because that seemed to cause some kind of rivalry between us and them, and that's the last thing that you want when it comes to teens, oh, it's us versus them. It's like whenever they looked at us, they were like, oh, it's those science division kids, like that. I could feel it whenever we would pass by. So that's why we always just stayed in our area, because whenever we would pass by them, they would always look at us and then be a bit hostile. It's probably because of the attitudes that were being fed to us as well. It wasn't good, but I somehow managed to survive there as well. Yeah, I still struggled with Filipino class back in the day. English was no problem, but when it went to things like calculus and algebra, or what was it? Chemistry. Oh God, chemistry. Those were my worst subjects in school. Trust me, that was awful. My gosh. Hello, Reeker, Ohio. Good morning to you. Welcome from Ohio. How have you been? How have you been? Good to see you all. Yeah, we're just talking about school, talking about, grades and struggling and all that stuff. And I mentioned that, all my life I struggled in Filipino class because I'm terrible at Filipino, even though I was born and raised here. And the funny thing is that in high school, a bunch of my friends were also bad in Filipino class. Because, well, we speak Hiligaynon. We don't speak Tagalog. So whenever we had tests or homework, we would always ask our teacher, ma'am, can we answer in Hiligaynon instead of Tagalog, please? That was always the most hilarious part. My gosh. We would try not to speak in Tagalog. Right, Reeker? I also used to struggle in the spelling quizzes because, whenever I would get to like talasalitaan or words like salungguhit or datapwat or samakatuwid, something like that. All of those words, my goodness. By the way, there will be a 90-second ad that's going to start soon. Just be aware of that. We're running these ads to prevent any pre-rolls, so anybody that will be tuning in will not be getting a pre-roll ad. So just letting you know. But we're not going to be doing anything really big. We're just going to be continuing the conversation right now. So if you want to go ahead and step away, get some snacks, get hydrated, feel free to do so. We'll be back for more of the DJ Serjay program. Gosh, Filipino class. Oh my goodness gracious. What a time that was, And the funny thing is I remember in high school, we had our own batch of quote-unquote experts. So I was the English expert, and then one of my best friends was the math expert. One of my other best friends was the science expert, and so on and so forth. So whenever we had homework, you know what happened. We would copy off each other. It's like, we ended up like making it almost like a business, but with no payment. It's just, we would just copy off each other before the class would start. But we never had someone who would be the expert of Filipino. Because again, Hiligaynon. My gosh. Reeker says, I was the ICT expert. Oh, what's ICT, please? Reeker? I wonder if there was such a thing as a PE expert back in the day. But in high school, we did not have our PE in high school was not like, doing sports, actually. It was more of like conducting events. So our PE classes were more of figuring out like, tournaments. So we would draft like tournaments, like how round robin would work, how single elimination would work, how double elimination would work, but never really doing the sports. That was so weird. Reeker says, information computer technology, I think. So you were the expert of the information computer technology. Very interesting, Reeker. So, did you let your classmates copy from you as well? Don't be shy. We're not being judgmental here. Reeker says, in high school, it was either we cook or we do computer. Yeah. We did that one time or a couple of times. We would have an entrepreneurship class. So we would go around, we would sell stuff, and then when that when that quarter was done, we would change to drafting, like in architecture. So we would change to that, and then we would move on to PE, and then we would move on to health, and then music and stuff like that. It was MAPE. We had MAPE. Instead of like regular PE class, we just had MAPE. So music, art, PE, and health. I don't know if people in the newer generation had that kind of thing, but that's how we did it back in the day, where we never had like a regular single PE class. So depending on the time of the year, we would be studying only music, studying only art, or PE, or health. Reeker says, I'm not that kind of expert in ICT, just application-wise. I see. Oh yeah, MAPE, Reeker says. I enjoyed the Arnis part. Well, at least you guys managed to do martial arts like Arnis. We didn't really get that sort of thing in high school. Again, someone had the bright idea to make our curriculum in high school PE more about, trying to judge tournaments and stuff like that, organize tournaments. I have no idea why. But at least I know what a round robin is like. Or how, Serjay, how do you conduct the tournament if it's gonna be double elimination with a bye? Okay, I got it, teacher. I can do that. No problem. Let me just get a drink first. Woo! Those are weird times, man. But yeah, those were the struggles back in the day, but eventually we made it out. I made it out. And I decided, you know what? I don't want to go through science school anymore. So I decided to study literature in college because that's what I like to do. I like to read back in the day. Sorry. Reeker says, oh yeah, our gen focuses on performative tasks. Yeah, probably that's what happened. That's why your generation had martial arts or actual PE in high school. Reeker's color fortune for the day. Oh, you got green. Someone is jealous of you. Well, probably because, you managed to do Arnis. I am jealous of you, Reeker. I am the source of the jealousy today. Because you got to do Arnis class. I had to organize tournaments back in the day. So, yeah, if any of you are interested, you can go ahead and enter !color and you can find your color fortune of the day. And apparently mine is awful because I got black. Today will be my worst one yet. Well, like I said earlier in the stream, you have survived 100% of your worst of the days that you thought were your worst ones yet. So, just bring it on. I'm just knocking on wood. Hopefully I won't tempt fate. I tried to be a bit respectful of the forces that govern our universe, whatever they are. So let's not get a bit too arrogant. Dare says, I think I have the highest grade for theater arts. I was thinking baka ang arte ko lang talaga. I always enjoyed literature class. Same. That's why whenever we had a test in English class in high school, it was always my friends that would approach me and say, Serjay, okay, you gotta go tell me, all right, who were the Knights of the Round Table again? Okay, or Serjay, who was this god in Greek mythology? And I say, I got you, fam. I can handle this. Okay, but in exchange for me telling you who are these Knights of the Round Table, you gotta tell me, all right, what is the molarity of this of hydrogen plus oxygen? Bang. Okay, so we had our fair share of exchanging knowledge for knowledge, quote unquote. And it kind of got weird when everybody got the same scores in the homework because everybody started copying from each other. So, but I don't know, nobody seemed to make a big deal out of it in the end. And when I thought that I was happy that high school was over, and I wasn't really happy when I got to college, even though I got in. But it was really, really difficult as the years went by, because college is definitely a lot different there. If in elementary school you could be considered the top of your class, the best of the best, and then high school, you begin to realize that no, there are a lot of people. There are some people that are as good as you or even better. College there, you will die. College is the Dark Souls of education. Dare says, you just have to accept that you will eventually fail a subject. Thankfully, I never did fail. The lowest grade that I ever got was in political science, D. So, oh my gosh. I somehow managed to not fail. Yes, it was equivalent is tres. So, let me just... hold on, I just need to type something. Hold on. Sorry, just a second. Okay, so sorry about that. Yes, Kai tres. That's the only bad thing about our grades, because in some schools, uno or number or one is considered the highest grade, and then in others, it is considered the lowest grade. So there's this weird reverse standard, So sometimes if you ask your friends, what was the lowest grade that you got? Uno. And you're like, huh? Because in your school, uno was considered the best grade. But then in other schools, uno is considered failure. And then we get the letter grades as well. So I think they really need to standardize these so everybody can understand what's good, what was bad. So we could all suffer together. Dare says, yeah, me too. Never failed a subject, but almost. It was terrible. Yeah. I think especially halfway through the semester, your teacher would call you in class, and then they would say, Serjay, okay, here's what's happening. I remember this one. It was Philippine history class. And then the teacher said, okay, Serjay, here's what's happening. If you are currently at C grade. If you want to get a C+, you need to get this score in your final exam. And then I looked at the possible score, and that was a big, big score. And I was like, oh my god, just kill me now. That's what I thought of back then. Not the best attitude. Again, not the best attitude, but back in the day, I was like, come on. That was way too difficult. But yeah, just like what Dare said, things take a really, really big, sharp turn when it comes to college. Everything you thought you prepared for will punch you in the face. I believe it was Mike Tyson that said, it was probably, Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson was the one who said that everybody has a plan until they get punched in the face. Well, Mike Tyson was definitely correct when it came to college, because college kept punching me in the face until there's nothing but a bloody pulp. And somehow I managed to graduate all battered, bloody, and bruised. Goodness. Dare and Reeker share pretty much the same sentiments. The goal is just to pass. Which is why I always found it funny that a number of my friends decided to take master's degrees after college. Because I was like, are you serious? Do you really want to go through that after all the suffering that we've gone through just to get a diploma? But I was like, all right, well, some of you have double majors, so it's not my place to question your capabilities. Just do what you gotta do, all right? Dare says, I didn't know that for masters there's a minimum grade requirement. I am not sure if that was the same in my university. If we had like a minimum grade requirement. Maybe there was. I just don't know. But for me, I definitely did not want to take masters after some thinking. Because for one, at that point, my parents would no longer pay for my tuition. Because they only agreed to pay until I graduated from college and got my diploma. So I would pay for myself. And two, I don't want to take another thesis. Please. Just, doing it once, because we had to do that in high school, science high school. We had to write a thesis in high school. And I wrote 150 pages, 150, in my high school thesis. But the funny thing was, the first 50 pages, 50, were only on the text itself, and the last 100 pages were all appendices. So all the links to the literature, all the test results, all the questions in my questionnaire, bunch of that. And then in college, I think I did 200 pages of my college thesis. Goodness gracious, what a trip, what a ride it was. It differs depending on the program and school, yeah. Dare says, yeah, another big headache, ha ha ha, oh man, definitely. Reeker says, oh man, yeah. Is that something that you have to do eventually, Reeker? Because, oh my god, I don't want to do thesis. And you know what? The funny part is that in my high school thesis, at least, that I was writing my high school thesis during the time Wikipedia was still pretty new. So that should tell you how old I am. So Wikipedia was still a new thing, and then my teachers kept saying, Serjay, stop using Wikipedia as your source. Well, I didn't know, sir. I thought it would be a good source. It looked so informative. But then, no, that's not how it's supposed to work. You're supposed to use the source from which Wikipedia used. I didn't really understand, but only when I was older I was like, oh right, yeah, they have a point. Don't reference Wikipedia, get the source from that Wikipedia used. Reeker says, yes, maybe next school year. I've only done researches as of today. I see. Oh man, that was wild back in the day when I used to get my papers back and they were filled with all of the red lines because they kept saying, Serjay, stop using Wikipedia. But it was so new. It was so useful. And, when we were younger, we did not know that Wikipedia was not the best source of information. Oh my gosh. That was a trip. And eventually, we stopped doing it. But Wikipedia is the key, That's the start of the info. And but please don't just stick to it. My gosh, review of related literature was always the most difficult part of the thesis. Especially for mine, because you're in the Philippines, right? And we don't have a wealth of information back in the day, especially in the early days when internet was still getting popular or more accessible. So we didn't have access to like journals or scientific articles that could help explain my high school thesis of loneliness. That was my topic. Loneliness for senior citizens. And then when I was in college, my thesis was about mythological creatures in Philippine literature. And that was a very difficult thing to find books about. Because, it's not Western. A lot of it would have been easier if we did like more Western related topics, because you would find a whole bunch of books and magazines and journals related to that. But if you're focusing on Philippine topics, good luck. Good luck with that. But I hope it was changed. I hope it'll change. Or maybe it has changed since my time. And if it has, much better. Reeker says, now I was surprised our research is in the internet and people can use it as a reference. Oh, really? Oh, your articles are on the internet. That's interesting. That's interesting. Yeah, that reminds me of how some research, some journals are like hidden behind a paywall, and some people don't like that because, you have to pay and, information should be free. And then the argument against that is like, oh, but who's going to pay for the journals, So like there's this whole argument that's going around and stuff like that. Like, should the information be free? And if so, who's going to finance like the websites holding the information? It's a very, very difficult topic to go through. But I acknowledge that it's part of the difficulty, in trying to find a balance between who should get what info and, how it's going to be, we're paying for it, It's a whole different rabbit hole that I probably don't want to get into. But yeah, I managed to survive college, and, well, I didn't become a teacher because, well, apparently if you major in literature, in college, apparently you're destined to become a teacher. Hey, Selene, good morning to you. Welcome. No, you're not too late. We're still here talking about stuff. We're now talking about like schools, your struggles in school and stuff like that. And our most recent topic was about thesis, and because a lot of the Philippine VTuber community apparently are kids. What am I saying? I'm not that old, okay? Are people who are still in college, apparently. So, yeah. Thesis. Oh my gosh. Celine, okay, I'm gonna say a very difficult word, okay? Review of related literature. That's the struggle, man. You have to find 10 books that support your theories. Oh my gosh. That's why I said, you know what? Just let school end already, please. Let me just start working. I don't care anymore. I'm not ready. Oh my goodness. So, yeah, that was the difficult part, But yeah, I am thankful though that I never failed in school, but I did have a bunch of close calls. I really did. And I'm thankful that I managed to survive. So, again, when I was at that time, I really thought it was like the end of the world for me when I got that D grade in political science. And I thought, oh my gosh, my parents are gonna kill me. But I don't know. I was surprised that they were not that... I guess they were disappointed, but I guess at that point they also were just happy that I graduated too. Because, especially in my senior year, I really was just like struggling a lot, I don't know how it is in current universities nowadays, but in my day, or in my time rather, we had something called free cut. So in your subject, you would be allowed a certain number of times when you can miss class. So let's say 5 times for whatever reason. And then I maximized those times in my senior year because maybe I needed to prepare for a test or I had to write thesis. One time, I did not go to school the entire day because I was cramming for a paper. Oh my goodness gracious. A paper that I had to pass online. Thank goodness it was online. Selene says, unrelated, but I see that food on your table. May I have some? Yeah, go ahead. I love my pizza and pasta. You're always free to share. We got pepperoni. Favorite flavor. Selene says, you guys had free cut? Man, I wish. Yeah. It was a luxury that, I don't know. Again, I don't know if your university, and I speak to most of you, had that sort of thing, but we had that. So again, that's just, you're given a certain number of times when you could skip the class because of, I don't know, you're sick or... Yeah. Oh no, free cut is the wrong word. Free cut is when the professor cannot make it for some reason. Cut is the correct word. So you're allowed, let's say, 4 cuts in this subject. So you're only allowed to skip the class 4 times. But if you skip 5 times, then that means you will automatically fail or you will be dropped. So I really maximized those cuts, just to make sure that I could cram, or probably just because I was bored, A lot of my friends were actually surprised that I would be cutting class because, at that point I didn't care anymore. I just wanted to get away from it all, The stress, it was just so tiring. I just couldn't handle it. That's why That's why I still consider it a miracle that I somehow managed to graduate from college. And despite my miserable grades. Checking the chat. Selen says, "Oh, someone is very angry with you. Oh, well, maybe it's because, you know, you're doing a good job in whatever you're doing. So don't mind them. Don't mind the people that are angry. Let them stew in their anger. Just keep, so long as you're doing your best and it is not breaking the law and it is not hurting other people, then you'll be fine." And you're saying the music is great? Well, that's good because if you check out the list here, this song is actually from one of my favorite musicians. His name is, it's Sunshine Flow. The title of the song is Sunshine Flow from David Cutter Music. And David Cutter Music is one of my favorites. All of the music that I use is coming from him. So yeah, just feel free to go ahead and give it a listen if you want to. It's non-copyright so long as you mention him. So yeah, if ever you want to include that in your streams. It's very, very bouncy, yeah. I thought it would be a good song to include when we're doing these chatting sessions, you know? So I'm glad you like it. Thank you. We're going to be running another 90-second ad so we can prevent any pre-roll. If you want to avoid... If you are enjoying these chats, I just want to share that we do... If you want to, you can definitely follow me so we can continue. You can follow for future sessions. We can talk about games, or we can play games, and we can have more just chatting sessions like this. And if you want to avoid ads, you can also drop a subscribe if you wish to. Not required, but definitely something for you to think about. So since we're already at the ad portion, let's just go ahead and have a drink. Anybody who wants to have coffee or milk or tea or whatever, or water, drink up. Ooh! Nelly. Selen says, "It feels very Serjay, not gonna lie. It's just like feeling a lot of colors flow through your body. At least it's how I feel." Ah, very interesting. You know, that kind of description is just like what my friend Milas, my artist, would do. If you saw the links in the chat just now, Milas's link is also included there. He is also the type that's very musical, very colorful. So you could also check it in his art as well. And yeah, I guess, you know, I didn't think of it that way, of colors flowing in your body, you know. But that's a very nice description, and I appreciate that. Selen, thank you. Yeah, Reeker, warm water, gang, let's go. You know, on a tangent, actually. Tangent time. On a tangent, as I grew older, I kind of felt that I do not like drinking cold water. I don't like cold water anymore. If it's Coca-Cola, I mean, like if it's soda, if it's milk, if it's what's this? Any kind, or coffee, I can drink it cold, no problem. But if it's just like regular water, it has to be room temperature or warm. Because if I drink cold water, it gives me a stomachache. I have no idea why that does that now. That's so weird. It's kind of like, as I grew older, I suddenly got asthma or allergies. It's like, dang, body, why are you doing this to me? Oh my gosh. Oh, you've been following for 8 days, Selen? Well, good to see. 1 week. and a day. Glad to have you here. Solen says, well, warm water is the most healthy, so you made a good choice. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah, it's kind of like whenever we visit a Chinese restaurant, or whenever we go to Hong Kong, every restaurant always offers tea. Always. And I don't know why. I never seem to get palpitations from the tea. I don't know. Maybe there's just barely any caffeine in the tea they offer us. And here's the thing. Apparently, the tea that they offer you in Hong Kong is supposed to be like used to rinse your utensils, your spoon and fork, before you eat. I think that's apparently what they do. And then you will I'm not sure if you will be given a separate glass, but apparently that's what happens. Reeker says, oh, cold water hurts my throat now. Yeah, it seems to do that too, but it's also more of my stomach. I don't know why. But whenever I drink like Coke float or coffee float from McDonald's, nothing happens. Everything is fine. I don't know. Bodies are just weird like that. As we were saying earlier in the stream, you know, people be built different. Whether mentally because they can somehow survive double major, even though I barely survived just one major. Some of my friends were able to survive having a major and a minor in their college, and others were able to do double major. My gosh. I wonder whatever happened to those people now. But I just hope they're happy. But yeah, I bring this up as well again for a lot of you who are watching, whether live or in the VOD, who are going through school. As someone who's been working for a while now, I'm just gonna say it's not always gonna be easy, you know. It's not gonna be easy. You know, when you go through life, when you go through work, it's gonna be difficult, you know. There will always be some things that will test you, make you wonder what the heck is going on, if you will, you know, be given reason to regret. But, you know, it's not gonna be easy, really. But, you know, I suppose, just to be a bit religious, is that, you know, sometimes people will be asking, or you can ask for easier times, but you can also ask for, you know, just to be stronger. You know, just to be stronger. Because everything, it's not always going to be easy. And there will be times that you will fail. Perhaps because you failed a test, you didn't get to finish a project, because maybe when you're like me at work, maybe you messed up at work. It's gonna test you. Life is going to test you. But, you know, no matter what happens, you know, just stay the course. Just keep at it. And if you're able to find someone that is willing to support you, then all the better. Reeker says, "Hey yo, spoiler." I'm sorry, Reeker, but that's just how it is. Life do be like that, you know? And it's probably gonna be like that until the end of my days, you know? We do be struggling. And you know, now that I'm on the other side, meaning now that I am an adult, wow. I've come to realize that, you know, being an adult also means trying to figure stuff out, you know, every single day. and trying to look like you're in control. Even if most of the time you have no idea what you're doing. So, it's just like that, When I was younger, I used to think, oh, the adults have got it under control. They know what to do. They can help. But now that I'm an adult, I realize, no, the adults had no idea what they were doing because I have no idea what I'm doing too. But, I guess it's really just part of how life is, The struggle of trying to go through life and then trying to figure stuff along the way. The learning process is always, always, always undergoing. And that's just how it is, It's scary, trying not to be able, or it's scary rather, not being able to be perfectly in control. But the truth of the matter is that is an impossibility. We can only try to control what we can. And if we fail, sometimes that's just because it's not any fault of our own. It'd be like that sometimes. And that's a very good attitude, Reeker. Just smile and wave, boys. Just smile and wave. All the struggles, all the problems that come up in our lives, just smile and wave, boys. Smile and wave. That's something that definitely we could try to look forward to more often in our lives, Life is full of struggle. It's going to be full of struggle. We're going to have failure. That's just how it is. I say that, but I'm a perfectionist. So that's going to be my biggest challenge, really. Trying to cope with that. So we'll see. But hopefully we'll be able to have a better time of going through it as well. Okay, so let me just see. What's happening over here? Sorry, I'm just taking a very quick check of things before we continue, okay? Hold on. Alright, yeah. Just smile and wave, boys. Smile and wave. And, yeah, I think we've exhausted our topic for the day, and I don't want to drag it on for way too long. So, first off, I would just like to thank everybody for joining me, especially on this very early morning. I greatly appreciate that you chose to make me part of your day. And I hope that this stream brought a little more color to your day as well. And now we're going to go ahead and spread the love, the Serjavian Nation love, by visiting Nerine. So we're going to go ahead and do that and then do a raid. Currently, Nerine is playing some Valo. So we'll go ahead and try and see what the action is about on their end. And you could see we already have the raid messages ready. So we have one for subscribers and for regular followers. So just get ready, and we're gonna be I'm gonna be sending you to Narine's way. So thank you once again, everybody, for dropping by. This is your favorite color surfing DJ, Serjay Svek, bringing a close to another episode of DJ Serjay. So thank you once again, everybody, for making me a part of your day. You take care, always stay safe, and keep the world turning. All right? Bye now.